people in the United States, Judge Hannah Dugan is entitled to a constitutional right of due process. This country has a system of checks and balances and a separation of powers for good reason. And we all saw today a direct attack on the system. It is clear that FBI is politicizing this situation to make an example of her and others across the country who oppose these attacks on the judicial system and our nation's immigration laws. Now let's look no further than FBI Director Kash Patel, who issued a public statement online, which he quickly deleted, making unsubstantiated claims about Judge Dugan's case before charges were officially filed and she could have her moment in court. Director Patel's statement shows that Trump's FBI is more concerned about weaponizing federal law enforcement, punishing people without their due process, and intimidating anyone who opposes these policies or those policies that they are seeking justice. Bottom line, we are talking about a sitting judge who deserves the same level of due process just like anyone else in our country. And it is our understanding that she was arrested by a large performative showing of law enforcement officials on the courthouse grounds today, and that is not right. The Milwaukee County Courthouse is a public building, and my administration remains in active conversations with our partners to ensure that the courthouse is not only safe, but serves the community and be a safe space for the community. And I'm calling on all of our partners in law enforcement and our courts to keep this space safe for everyone who needs to utilize the critical services that we offer right here in the Milwaukee County Courthouse. And so overall, I am extremely concerned about the Trump administration's continued intentions to instill fear and hostility across the community, especially among our judges who are tasked with the important role of interpreting and upholding our laws. The example being made of Judge Dugan's case speaks directly to the concerns being raised about targeting individuals throughout our judicial systems across our country. At a judicial conference last month, over 50 judges expressed concerns about rising threats against judges and the potential removal of their security by the Trump administration. We have an obligation to administer our courts in a safe, efficient manner that delivers due process for everyone. The Trump administration's actions are clearly preventing us from doing so, that by intimidating judges and eroding the public faith in our judicial system. My office will continue to seek legal clarity as this alarming situation evolves, but today we are asking questions and seeking answers. And I'm happy to try and answer yours as well, but as you know, many of the facts and details of this case will become public in the days and weeks ahead. And so before I take questions, we all need to understand that our democracy sits on a three-legged stool. That is our executive, legislative, and judicial branches. And when we erode one of those legs from that three-legged stool, that means our democracy falls. And so we have to make sure that we continue to protect ourselves, protect our democracy, and fight for our community, particularly as it relates to due process. And so I'll take any questions folks have.
Executive Crowley, over the last several weeks, we've had several instances at the Milwaukee Courthouse where federal agents have shown up and arrested what they call illegal immigrants. Now we're seeing the arrest of a circuit court judge. What was your initial reaction to hearing this news this morning?
Well, hearing the news, quite frankly, I was surprised. You know, when we talk about our judges who are here to uphold the law, you know, it's really about making sure we give people that due process. And so first and foremost, I seen the tweet from Director Patel before I heard anything about the charges, which was very concerning. But at the end of the day, folks need to realize that our county courthouse, all of our public hallways are public. This is a public entity. And so when it comes down to the courtrooms themselves, that is up to what the judges are going to do. And so we, again, are going to continue to work with the Sheriff's Office, our Chief Judge, to figure out how we continue to move forward. But at the end of the day, we need this to be a safe space. And even if you are an undocumented immigrant, we need you to be able to understand that this is a safe space for us. They may be a witness in a crime. They may be a victim in the crime. And if they're a witness, for example, we need them to be able to come into this building and feel safe, to be able to talk, to actually be a witness. And so it does concern me. It absolutely concerns me.
Mr. County Executive, where this happened and how it happened, where in the building did this happen? Did you see any video of it or anything?
I have not. I don't have all the details related to where the arrest happened and how it happened, but we're looking to get that information.
You called it performance, so what are you basing
There was a large presence of law enforcement officers that were here. That's the reason why I said it was performative.
In the first Trump administration, the states of Massachusetts and New York successfully pursued injunctions prohibiting ICE officials from accessing state courthouses so as to protect their state court process and create the safe space that you referenced, Mr. County Executive. Are you, as the county executive, considering any affirmative legal action against the Trump administration to enjoin ICE officials from pursuing immigration arrests in the courthouse?
Again, we're having a lot of conversations with many of our partners. I don't want to put too much information out there, but we're looking at every avenue that we can as it relates to protecting people's due process in this building.
Have you been made aware of any other cases or examples of judges being arrested by federal agents?
I am not aware of any cases of that matter.
And why do you think they picked Milwaukee?
I do not know. Again, you've seen many of these attacks on many judges across this country. Anytime they have went up against any policy decision that this administration has put forth. Again, we need our judicial officers to have their independence, and that's what we need to make sure that we are protecting. But I have, again, don't know of any other cases where the Trump administration has arrested a judge.
How could this have been handled differently? You criticized the tweet and you criticized the arrest. How do you think it could have been handled differently?
I'm not law enforcement, right? And so when I think about how this could have been handled, one, we're talking about a sitting judge who uphold the laws and interpret our laws. But for her, for example, to come to the courthouse and be arrested, why didn't this happen at her home? There are a lot of questions that we have as well, and we're looking to get some answers.
Two more questions.
The criminal complaint states that Judge Dugan took federal agents into Chief Ashley's office, left them there, went into a separate room, went back and got the person who was supposed to be allegedly undocumented, escorted that person out of the courthouse, and then that person got away. Eventually he was arrested, but what is your reaction to learning that that is how federal agents are describing what happened that day and are alleging that that's why she's being charged today?
This is the first time that I'm hearing exactly what had happened, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're following all of our laws right here in Milwaukee County. And we are extensions of the state, and we're going to uphold the state and the federal Constitution. But we, again, want to get those facts as much as possible. So I can't speak to the details because I want to hear exactly what had happened. I appreciate your reporting, but I'm just not going to speak to that.
One more question.
Under what conditions would Judge Dugan be able to resume her job as judge? Like, what would have to happen?
That's a great question. I think that's a question for the chief judge. I think that it may be a possibility of them reassigning many of her court cases, but I think that you should ask the chief judge that particular question. I have not heard anything as of this moment.
Can you just give us the few details you do know about her arrest? Was it in a cafeteria or somewhere else in the courthouse? What time did it happen?
I just know that it happened on our county courthouse complex early this morning. Those are pretty much the only details that I have at this time.
Inside or outside, do you know?
I don't know as of right now.
Any indications from the Evers administration, the chief judge, or the Supreme Court as to whether or not Judge Dugan will continue to draw a salary while she defends herself against these charges?
I have not had any conversations at this moment or with the Supreme Court or anybody at the state level, so I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Was the sheriff's office involved?
I, I don't know. We're still getting as many questions answered as possible at this moment. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.